3.5 years later, I'm wearing the same shirt again, and all I'm gonna say is, feels a little tight, and that's on college weight gain. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's been about 3.5 years since I filmed my very first how I got into the M.E.T program video here on my YouTube channel. Link is in the description box down below. I know a lot of people have watched it. I think every single M.E.T student, almost every single M.E.T student actually has watched my video. And it's funny because every time we've had a new cohort come in, they always say, oh my god, you're that girl that does the YouTube videos, or like, oh my god, I've seen your video, or like, your video helped me. And that makes me so happy because the whole purpose of that video was really to help people out there who maybe wanted some guidance. So 3.5 years later, I've gone through the program and I'm about to graduate next semester, and I just wanted to give you guys an update on what the program was like, all the pros and cons, and what I really feel the program did best on and what they could improve on. So a little bit of background about me. I have always been really into tech and science, really into STEM. I've loved math ever since I've been really little. STEM was like a no-brainer choice for me. It was what I knew I was going to major in. What I also knew is that I also really love talking to people. I love interacting with people, and I love business. And the plan was that after 2 years of working in the industry, I would then proceed to get my MBA at Harvard, Stanford, UPenn, you know, one of those top business schools. So seeing that on UC Berkeley application that there was a track that combined both EECS and business administration, to me it was almost like a no-brainer because it was exactly what I wanted to do but combined together, and it was something that I could accomplish within 4 years being in my undergraduate. So that's why I applied for that program, not necessarily knowing that it was called M.E.T or that it was the M.E.T program. On February 10th, when I was accepted, that is when I realized that I actually applied for the M.E.T program. And then a month later, I was accepted into my dream school, which is MIT, for course 6, which is their equivalent EECS track. And then I was also accepted to a couple other schools like Carnegie Mellon, UIUC. I had a full ride to University of Washington, Purdue. Those were other engineering schools that I was considering, but really what the decision boiled down to was really MIT versus M.E.T. And in the end, of course, I chose M.E.T because when I visited Berkeley and when I met all the other students who were also accepted into this M.E.T program, when I met the M.E.T board, and when I met Michael Grimes, and he is on the M.E.T board, they made a lot of promises. Today, I really just want to talk to you about my experiences on what M.E.T delivered and versus what I thought that they could improve on. And I'm gonna start in order of what I feel like they could improve on, and I will end with what I think M.E.T went really above and beyond and delivered far beyond my expectations, and why I think the program is really worth it. So the first thing M.E.T promises is that you are going to be essentially a part of like a really small cohort of like-minded peers. And I will definitely say that for the most part, that is 100% true. And everyone who is admitted into M.E.T is brilliant. Everyone has had a startup, built a company, has a nonprofit organization, won an international competition, won a national competition, semi-finalist of this, team leader in this, team captain in this, you know, built 10 million different apps. They've done it all. Whatever you think of, they've definitely done it. They probably have patent pending, they've done research papers, everything. Nobody is a cookie cutter of anyone else. Everyone has had different accomplishments. And I think with the fact that a lot of these people have had such amazing achievements, in the beginning, I felt that a lot of M.E.T students sort of had an ego. A lot of people were very proud of their accomplishments, as they should, but I think that not all of them were very humble about them, and some people would kind of go around campus bragging that they were in M.E.T, and that created somewhat of a nasty reputation. But I think over time that has definitely significantly decreased. I think a lot more people are more humble, but I do know that in the beginning when people join M.E.T and when you form group chats amongst each other, I've seen and heard a lot of people just kind of talking about how great they are, all their different accomplishments, like, oh, what did you do? I do this. And first of all, once you get into college, no one cares about what you did in high school, okay? If you're still talking about what you did in high school, that's really sad. You should be focusing on what you want to do in college and in the future in your career. You should not be talking about your high school accomplishments. It's really lame, okay? Don't do that. So advice for any of you guys out there. One thing that I think M.E.T did really well in though is that we started from my year doing a big little kind of tradition. So since I'm the founding class, I do not have a big, but I have 2 littles, and then I have 2 grand littles, and now I actually have a great grand little. And I think that having this sort of big little establishment is fantastic because for the most part, we don't really have the opportunity to interact with other M.E.T students. And again, this is one thing that I think M.E.T could do better on, which is having better social events. Normally when we have any kind of social events, the turnout is pretty sad. I don't think the attendance is that great. Maybe it's like 20%. I'm not exactly sure what the number is. I'm just ballparking it, but I don't think that M.E.T has a huge sense of community. You know, within each cohort, you have groups within the groups. You have some stragglers who are not particularly involved in M.E.T, but for the most part, they're groups within groups. Of course, you know, there are going to be people who don't like each other, and that's normal. I think a part of me foolishly expected that everyone would get along so well, but that's not the case. Not everyone gets along really well with other people. M.E.T students who tend to be really close most likely decided to room with one of them in freshman year in their dorm, and then they progressively kept like living together afterwards or just spending more time hanging out. So really, I mean, in the end, how close you are with other M.E.T students really depends on how much effort you want to put in, if you choose to take classes with each other. So it's really what you make of it. But I think that to go into the M.E.T program thinking that everyone wants to be friends with each other is the wrong mindset. I think a lot of people in M.E.T, we see each other as acquaintances for the most part, and I think we're like, you know, good connections to have in the future. And through M.E.T, I've actually made some really great friends, definitely lifelong friends, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Another thing I wanted to mention is that M.E.T did promise that we would have a private M.E.T space, which they did deliver on, and it's a really nice space, you know, lots of color. It's actually quite nice, but it's not a fantastic studying place. It's more like a socializing area, if anything. And I will say that mostly freshmen and sophomores hang out there, and as you get older, when you become a junior, senior, you know, you kind of have more priorities. You want to do other things. You're not necessarily hanging out at the M.E.T space as often. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the ease of obtaining this dual degree. I think a lot of people are immediately intimidated by the idea of completing a double major because it seems like a lot of work. So M.E.T actually has taken the liberty to actually remove some of the breadth requirements that you would normally have to complete for both majors, and so that makes it a lot more manageable for us to complete our major. So M.E.T has been adding a bunch of other tracks for students to combine their engineering with their business major with, and I cannot speak about the other majors because I'm not really sure what their course load is like. So I can only speak about my major, which was Econ and Business, and I can say that it's definitely very manageable. I would say expect to take anywhere from 16 to 20 units, which is roughly 4 to 5 classes per semester. And I say this because you're probably going to also be doing other things like maybe joining clubs, joining fraternities, sororities, having fun with friends, and in the end, it's all about making a good school life balance. You know, it's up to you to have different priorities. All M.E.T freshmen and sophomores actually have priority registration enrollment, which is the same time as Regent scholars have, so that we actually can get priority registration. And this is really important because I do know that a lot of M.E.T students who are debating between M.E.T versus maybe a private university, their main concern is oftentimes, you know, it's so hard to get classes, the classes are so big, how can you compare it to a private school? For a lot of the CS classes, there are class sizes of 1,000 students, and that can be really daunting because it's such a huge class. How can you get the most out of it? I will tell you this, in college, 99% of your learning is self-taught. 99% of it is self-taught. Sure, you can go to office hours, you can talk to your professor, but most of the time you're reading the lecture, or maybe you're attending lecture if you're a good student, and most of the time you are learning on your own. You're learning by doing. When you do the projects, when you do the practice sets, that's how you learn. Another thing that I do want to mention is that because you are doing a dual major, you don't really have a lot of room for you to take a lot of fun classes. So some students have actually been able to graduate in M.E.T in 3 years. A couple people from my year actually have already graduated. There are some classes that I wish I could take. For example, I wish I could take a philosophy class, a psychology class, a sociology class, history classes, art classes, theater classes, so many other humanity classes that I wish I could take, but I simply don't have room for it in my schedule. I don't want to bombard my schedule with 6 classes because, hello, I still want a life, I still want to have a balance, and so that is why I do want to forewarn you that if you think that you can have a lot of leeway to take a lot of classes, it's really not like that. I would say that for the most part, maybe each year you can take one fun class that doesn't go towards your major. So maybe you can take around 4 fun classes throughout your entire college years. If you have AP credits from high school, that will also count towards your major. And so that will really help to lighten up your course load so you don't have to take as many of the basic requirements for your major. So do load up on APs in high school so that if you get a 4 or 5, then you can get some requirements waived and you can free up that room to take other things that you might be interested in college. So the next thing that I want to talk about is private academic guidance. This is something that I think that the M.E.T program actually does exceptionally well, and this is a great feature that the M.E.T program offers for a lot of students. When you first come into college, it's really overwhelming. There's so many classes. How do you choose what classes to take? How do you know what classes you want to take for the next 4 years? It's really daunting, and there's so many options, so many clubs. There's just so much happening at once, and this is why M.E.T really outperforms in this sector. For the majority of students, you're sectioned off and you have a designated advisor for your major. That often is pretty tricky to reach out to them because you are competing against thousands of other students for the attention of one person. So naturally, it'll be harder to make an appointment. As an M.E.T student, we have an amazing board of people who are there to answer any sort of questions that you have. So during my time in college, I frequently talked to Dawn, who is the associate director of the M.E.T program, and every single semester I would book a 20-minute appointment with her and I would check in with her, and we would often discuss what I'm going to take the next semester and really plan out what I want to do for the next 4 years. By being able to talk to her, it was really a great sense of reassurance for me because I had someone who was experienced in the field, having someone there to advise me on what classes I should take, making sure I stay on track for graduating. It was really helpful, and it helped to make the entire process a lot more seamless and a lot more stress-free. Another resource was Chris. She's the executive director of M.E.T. I talked to her frequently when it came to anything career related, and I also talked to her about different elevator pitches and just asked her for advice when it came to anything career related, and she was instrumental in helping me decide what internships I should take and what opportunities I should take that were best for my career path and best for my future. The next topic that I want to talk about is really something that I think M.E.T went really above, far beyond my expectations in, and what I think M.E.T is most worth it is their personal professional development that they give for M.E.T students. So in my freshman year in the beginning, we had a bunch of fireside chats which typically involved M.E.T inviting CEOs or executive directors, someone in the higher up management team of various different companies coming to talk to us to kind of inspire us so that we could ask questions about their journey. And those proved to not be popular as time went on because not a lot of students felt a lot of interest in that. So I don't think we do fireside chats anymore. Instead, what M.E.T kind of beefed up on and put more effort in were a lot of career recruiting and internship opportunities. And I think this is really instrumental because when you're in college, one of the most important things is really finding an internship so it could propel you for the next step of your career, which is maybe getting another internship or getting a job, etc., figuring out what you want to do after college. And I think in college, internship is a really big deal, especially in Berkeley. People are constantly bragging about what internship position they have, and it's talked all over on LinkedIn. If you go on LinkedIn, you know, prepare for your mental health and your mental sanity, but it can become toxic very quickly and it can deteriorate your self-worth. So my recommendation is don't go on LinkedIn too often because sometimes it'll make you feel bad about yourself. Internships are very important in college, and getting your internship early is very crucial. So for a lot of software engineering positions and for a lot of business positions, PM positions, these all start normally in the fall. Some positions even start opening up in the end of summer. So during the fall and winter, M.E.T really works very hard in getting us a lot of different career opportunities. Every 2 weeks, give or take, M.E.T would often host private career fairs simply for M.E.T students. So they would have recruiters from Amazon, Google, Facebook, Airbnb, you know, you name it. And they come to Berkeley in an M.E.T space, and this career fair is solely for M.E.T students. And a lot of the times, I don't really recommend people to go to career fairs because it's often hundreds of people waiting in line to talk to one recruiter, and that can often become really counterproductive. And it's a huge sunk cost fallacy kind of situation because you're standing there waiting in line, you're almost there, and you don't want to leave the line yet because you've been waiting there for so long. You finally get to talk to this recruiter and you say like 5 words. You can't really get much out of the interaction. So for the most part, I think career fairs are kind of a huge waste of time, and I've never had much success out of it. These M.E.T specialized career fairs are much different though, because even though these M.E.T career affairs are open to all M.E.T students, of course you're not going to get 100% attendance rate, and then you are talking to all the different recruiters, and you have a much higher chance of actually having meaningful conversation to the recruiter, giving your elevator pitch, selling yourself, telling them why you need this internship opportunity, whatever, hand over your resume, and you have a much higher chance of being noticed and getting this internship opportunity. Althea, our marketing director, she collects our resume every single semester, and she then sends out these resumes to a bunch of other companies. And I've had a really good success story from M.E.T recruiting. In the summer of 2019, I ended up working at WeWork, and the way I got that position was through M.E.T. So in my sophomore year, I was really late to recruiting. I didn't know I was supposed to recruit in the fall, so I ended up starting to recruit around February, March, which is really late for recruiting. So I was panicking at this point because I was applying online, but I wasn't getting that much traction because a lot of opportunities were already taken at this point. And I had a recruiter at WeWork actually directly reach out to me and say, hey, we have this opportunity, would you like to interview for it? And so I said yes, of course, interviewed it, did a couple interviews, and then I got the job. And then I had my internship at WeWork, which really helped to set me up for my next internship, which was at Amazon, that I had this past summer. This is an example of a huge success story in which M.E.T was really able to help me get this opportunity to help land me an internship when a lot of opportunities weren't even available anymore. Also, during my freshman year, M.E.T was able to work with Kleiner Perkins, and they arranged such that every single M.E.T student would have an automatic fast-tracked application to the semifinal round for the KPCB Fellows Internship Program. And I believe that that also extended to new grad positions, but you have one chance through your entire college career to essentially apply for the KPCB Fellows program. I did not end up applying for this particular program because I had other interests at the time. Continuing with internship opportunities, this past summer, as many of you guys know, COVID happened. I mean, COVID is still happening, but COVID was really bad then, and a lot of companies were suffering. They didn't have enough capital, so they had to fire and furlough a lot of people, and with that, a lot of internships ended up getting canceled. And because of that, a lot of students who had internship opportunities suddenly found themselves without a job throughout the summer. M.E.T was able to actually secure a guaranteed internship for every single M.E.T student to work at Berkeley Skydeck startup companies or different YC startup companies. And this is an incredible opportunity because they were able to actually guarantee that any M.E.T student who wanted an internship would get one, and it was paid on top of that. And that is an unprecedented opportunity. There is no program out there, no private school, no Ivy League out there that cares that much about the success of their students that they would go out of their way to arrange opportunities with these different startups to guarantee meaning 100% you will get an internship. You will get a paid internship this summer. There's no program out there. There's no Ivy League school out there that can say that they will guarantee their students an internship. And M.E.T is this special because they care so much about their students. They care about their students' successes that they were able to actually arrange such a special opportunity for M.E.T students. And of course, this is not happening every year. This is probably a one-off scenario, but just an example to show you how M.E.T truly cares that their students are going to exceed, that their students are going to go above and beyond, and so they also will go above and beyond and provide opportunities for M.E.T students. M.E.T also frequently does informational sessions, so whether it be how to polish your resume, how to boost up your LinkedIn, how to network, training boot camps for PM internships. They have a bunch of these different workshops to really help boost your professional career and really help guide you when it comes to maybe formatting your resume or figuring out how to do interviews, that sort of thing. A lot of the M.E.T informational sessions are more so focused on the technical aspect of their major, so a lot more engineering focused. And I wish that they would have more sessions relating to, venture capital, how to create a startup, private equity, entrepreneurship, quantitative finance, business, that sort of thing. I don't think that there is a huge amount of that, and they don't really promote it a lot. And I think that that should be promoted a little bit more in M.E.T. I wish that they did a little bit more encouragement in that sort of aspect. M.E.T is a kind of program that halfway silver spoon feeds you. They provide you so many specialized opportunities, they give you so many resources, and they give you access to a wide range of opportunities. and it's really up to you to take advantage of it. So for example, what I'm saying is they might be able to land you an interview at a company, but it is up to you to actually study for the interview. It is up to you to set the bar higher. It is up to you to work your ass off to do well in the interviews, and once you get the job, it's important for you to make M.E.T look good. Like, you are a representative of M.E.T. M.E.T is like a brand, right? So you can't just, oh, I got the job, like, okay, I'm just gonna be relaxed, chill, like, I got the job, it's cool, it's on my resume. No, when you're at the job, you have to work extremely hard, show them why they hired you, make the M.E.T program look good so the company will continue to want to hire other M.E.T students. And if you are deciding between M.E.T versus any other private school or Ivy League, which is probably what you're ending up deciding between, it gets to a certain point where once you're in the top tier school levels, the education is very similar. You're not learning more algorithms at Harvard than you are at Berkeley. You're not learning how to solve problems or optimize things better at another school versus Berkeley. I think in the end, the education is very similar. What it really comes down to is the kinds of people that you're associating with. And that is what's so special about M.E.T, is because they put you in a cohort of people who are like-minded individuals, people who are also aspiring to do huge things. Maybe you're gonna meet your next co-founder. Maybe you're gonna meet the next business partner you're gonna work with. Maybe you're gonna meet the investor for your future startup. You have no idea, but the fact is that every single person who is in M.E.T is so special. They are so hardworking, incredibly intelligent, brilliant people, and I think that having the access and the network and being able to form bonds with these kind of people so early on is so invaluable, and I think that that is what makes M.E.T so special. And in the end, it's all about you. Do you want to be part of a new program so that you can actually set the tone for what it's going to be like for the next few generations? I think that that's an unprecedented opportunity, and being in the heart of Silicon Valley, you just can't beat that. You just can't beat being in the Bay Area, surrounded by tech, surrounded by innovation, surrounded by brilliant, like-minded individuals. I just think that being in Berkeley is a fantastic area, provides a fantastic opportunity, and yes, 100% I think M.E.T is worth it. Whether I'm in-state or out of state, I would still choose M.E.T over any other university because the opportunities, the location, the people, it's just so worth it to me. And in the end, you do really need to decide for yourself. Are you maybe the kind of person who really just likes to study all day? Maybe you're just really into tech. Maybe you're really just into coding, learning the technical aspect, in which case maybe M.E.T is not the best fit for you. M.E.T wants students who are going to be the next entrepreneur, the next leader, the next person who's gonna build the next biggest tech company, or the next biggest biotech company, or the next biggest fintech company, or the next biggest any kind of company. It's really about being amongst people who you are inspired to build and create things with. And I think that if you are the kind of person who likes to create things, who likes to build things, who likes to be surrounded by other inspiring people, I think you will definitely not be disappointed by choosing M.E.T. I have talked a lot. I hope that this video was helpful for any of you guys out there if you are deciding whether or not to join M.E.T. Of course, take my feedback with a grain of salt. I'm only one person. There are now 200 or so students out there. Do your own research. Go talk to them. Talk to other students about their opinion. I can only offer you my opinion. And I hope that you found this video insightful so that you can help make a better decision for what school you want to join in the next 4 years. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you follow my Instagram at MereHeartsU and my Twitter at MeredithMao so you can see behind the scenes of what I'm doing when I'm not making YouTube videos. And make sure you guys subscribe to my vlog channel, which I'll link right up over here. And that is pretty much where you can see all the behind the scenes of my college life because I do vlog a little bit here and there. Please give the video a thumbs up if it was helpful for you. Let me know what other videos you guys would like me to make. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!